effective, and it's certainly not going to start with a Cassiopeia.
No, it is not. First ban away here by KT yet again.
It was Cassio, Lucian, Gragas with the blue side bans for KT Rolster in Game 1. Shen has now got the permanent ban slot from Game 2 onwards. You wouldn't watch Game 1 and think Shen was the most necessary to ban, but it did hurt Faker when he tried to play side lanes, so it means they can't have as much piggyback action. Take down Faker in a side lane. Two big picks recently were the Cassiopeia and Lucian, and KT is not interested in facing either.
So what do we see as the final ban from SK Telecom? You would expect it to be the Zac.
Oh, that's true. The problem is that Thresh is good into Zac, so will Wolf, who has not played Thresh in a long time, take it? KT actually ban away the Zac, forcing SKT to ban away the Elise. Seems to be what they're going for here with how the series has gone so far. That would mean Thresh could be first picked for KT or potentially something else.
Well, if KT doesn't first pick it, could see it swapped over to SKT. It's going to be the Kalista ban, and I do like this adjustment because you think back to their 4-match loss streak, the Kalista was one of the biggest culprits. SK Telecom could not find wins against it.
And it's also interesting because Kalista turns Thresh from a lane bully who finds it hard to get much done in the late game into just an initiator with the Fate's Call, and then it's so much more reliable to hit your skill shots as a Thresh. Does give open Elise to score, one of his most famous jungle picks. So it's a pretty heavy price, but like you say, Achilles, not a bad adjustment. And maybe SKT, who don't ban the Rakan for the first time this series, they'll actually go to it themselves.
All right, well, they take this one for themselves. Tristana, yet again, being favored by Bang. The Caitlyn is available.
And remember, guys, remember at home, look up the number here. This is not the 716 that EU LCS Promotions was played on yesterday. This is 715 with Urgot disabled. So Caitlyn doesn't have her latest round of nerfs, and Caitlyn Thresh could just be the lock-in for the side of KT. Anything other than Jhin, I think the KT fans will be fine with from Deft, given all the struggles previously. Already we have an impressive pick duo of Elise and Thresh. Could be a Renekton to pair with it, but you think you have to take your AD carry now, otherwise going to be some bans from SKT.
Yeah. Be shocking to see the Caitlyn go untouched yet again. 2 games in a row left available, no one picking it, no one banning it. But maybe they just go, okay, they're going to go for the LeBlanc.
Pick comp is in full swing. Renekton will probably be locked in if available. Could be blind picked and would be the Elise Renekton. Has been the cornerstone of many victories in the LCK across multiple teams. SKT will finally get the jungler they've been craving, but it's not for Peanut, who actually has been the star on the Gragas. It's for Blank, who is a great Gragas in his own right. Don't want to sell him short, but this is a pick that Peanut has been starring on recently. Blank's 3-0 on the season. It's still a good pick for him. But it's not Gragas answering, say, a Kalista, where you can just DPS or just push her out of a fight and remove the damage. We still don't know the AD carry choice, but predictably, the Caitlyn will not be left available for KT. This could just be Renekton Ashe for the most CC pick comp from KT.
Well, that's if Deft can hit his arrows, which has been
I mean, if enough other people hit their spells, it's all right, Deft. You can just get the third up Ashe arrow. And good stuff from SKT. They notice it. They understand it. The on-hit stun is so reliable for the Renekton, so it'll lead to a Renekton ban. And the Cho'Gath, the safe blind pick. Untara retains his spot. They do not try Huni in the third game. Usually it was Untara coming in late in the series. It's been Untara starting. They rely on the player who wasn't even playing competitive in spring season, was getting up his challenger accounts. Just caught the eye of SKT. SKT have the option of picking either their top laner or their mid laner, and go with the Corki, famous farm lane against the LeBlanc, and there's just not many better options available that can lane into LeBlanc.
We'll just go ahead, take that one here. Want to give that last pick over to the likes of Antara. See how he's going to fare. But now Smeb, what is he going to go for?
Has not found a victory on Gnar yet this season. 80 carry choice. Deft is the only person to play Sivir so far in summer. Sivir saw a buff. Turbo Sivir. Now, it's not with tanks, which is usually when we see the Sivir. So let's see if we finally see a tank initiator as the top lane selection, because usually it's all about empowering your tank line with movement speed to get reliable CC. Sure, Thresh, Elise, and LeBlanc going to be happier, get into closer range. What top laner are they pairing it with here for Smeb? It's going to be the undefeated Jarvan.
Okay.
Pick comp from KT Rolster with the buffed Sivir. Deft is a legacy Sivir player. I cast his LPL final performance. We got a pentakill against LGD in LPL Spring Final. Usually it's paired with the Maokai, but Maokai is still going to be the pickup. This time, most likely for top lane for SKT.
Give it a little bit to see where they're going to end up. Both the Maokai and the Gragas will have a bit of sustain there in the lane, try to get through that J4 with the constant Dragon Strikes coming through, but it seems like it might just be Maokai here for Untaras. We're not seeing any swaps whatsoever between he and Blank.
Always wait to let it settle. SKT jumping on the Rakan that they'd permanently banned previously. Not been a huge pick for them. 3 games on the summer season. Played it largely at Rift Rivals. Didn't play it so much in the LCK. We're playing Kalista Rakan almost exclusively when they went over for that tournament. KT Rolster have solid tools, but it's a different kind of draft for them. Strong engage, score the most empowered. Elise is permaban status because she beats every tank lane jungle matchup. They get her here and a couple of kills come rolling, the control wards go down, and there's nowhere safe on the map for SKT.
All right, well, Deft yet again bringing out the Sivir. We'll see how he's going to fare, because the Tristana from Bang has been leaving a lot to be desired by the SK Telecom fans. So if Deft can roll over that lane, get a CS lead yet again, we might just be looking at a historic 3-0 by KT Rolster over the likes of SK Telecom T1. Let's go ahead, see what happens. This could be it, ladies and gentlemen. Potentially the final game of the semifinals as we load onto the Rift. KT Rolster up at match point versus SKT.
Nobody getting here later anymore, Achilles. We have a full stadium for the Telecom War semi-final. There's an alpaca! Hoping there's going to be screams of joy, which looking more likely given they're 2-0 up recently. And Score also.
Well, that's not Deft.
Well, Score is his jungler, and Score is
It's in the corner.
Perhaps the greatest storyline in LCK history. The man who has been the almost man for so long.
One of the saddest.
Absolutely, but the sad stories are the ones that everyone can relate to, because people have good moments in their lives, but everyone has sad moments too. And Score,
Sure.
so many times in a row, he has been the second-placed man, and he still may be. They still could go on to lose to Longzhu if they end up making it to the final. Hell, could be
Or
a
lose
third-place player if they are unable to beat SKT. Score does inspire a lot of emotion both ways. His status as one of the top 2 junglers, or the best jungler in the world, is certainly not in any doubt. KT have a very powerful pick comp here. And let's talk a little bit about what it all means. Because if KT do win, if they do win 3-0...
Yeah, what's on the line, Papa?
So they go to Worlds. That's guaranteed because they will be highest in circuit points or they win the LCK. SKT fans, for the first time in a long time, Achilles, they're actually KT fans for the Grand Final. Because if KT Rolster beat Longzhu in the Grand Final, they actually guarantee that SKT goes through on circuit points, and Longzhu would have to play the qualifier. So that's basically where we land. For today, the battle lines are drawn. KT Rolster versus SKT. But if KT go on to the Grand Final, it's in SKT's interests that KT win.
Such a turnaround there. But already back onto the thresh for the 3rd game in a row. Mata starting to get some harass down onto Bang and Wolf. We'll see how Wolf is going to be piloting this Rakan. They've been banning it away in the first 2 games, but now decide to go ahead and pick it up for themselves.
Mata going for the Alpha Flay trades, try to get his Courage proc and go for the autos. This is the hot fixed version for Sivir. Originally got a massive buff on this patch, and they realized that was silly, and it's just a 10 damage buff, which is relevant for a pick that was always situationally strong. If you're running the Maokai as the tank line, you would consider it. But in this case, it's going to have a bit more laning oomph and be able to trade and push, particularly with the Tristana. It's seen as a bit of a pseudo counter, given that you can answer the charge and a lot of the abilities with the spell shield. Satchel charge, I should say.
Let's see. 15 minutes. First 2 games is when we start seeing the acceleration being pressed by KT Rolster. For now, just hang out and have some nice farming.
Blank has to do the putting out the fires game here, because if Elise goes into a lane, gets the jump on a laner, and there is not a Gragas to turn it around, there's a lot of reliability in the initiation from the side of KT Rolster, so that's where Blank exceeds compared to Peanut, who's not usually on the defensive duty we've seen him on Maokai so far this series. Blank certainly has thrived in that. In 2017 in particular, kind of amusing that Bengi had that role in 2016, and then Blank took it over after Bengi left to Vici Gaming in 2017, but Blank is excellent as a coverage jungler. Really, that's what he wants to do, to ensure that no snowball goes down for the Elise.
Already Antara having a bit of a rough time, as both junglers will be up on the top side of the map. Score winning over the wall.
He doesn't know they're here.
No, he does not. Body slam going to come through. He's going to take quite a bit of damage. Dodges out on the twisted advance with that repel. Takes quite a bit from the arcane smash. Cocoon will not connect, but they trade decently back here onto Antara. But Blank, he's looking for it. He's just going to go ahead, flash to the other side, gets the first blood, and now Smeb's just got to get out of there.
A big mistake from Score, who held onto a CC for a long time, knowing they could potentially turn around and burst someone, missed the cocoon, and then didn't want to flash, held his summoner, and just pass a kill over, crucially not to Maokai. They don't give double buffs to Maokai. The kill goes over to Blank, so it doesn't impact the lane. That's what happens when you change the jungle. The tendencies of the enemy jungler changes, and Score was read like a book by Blank.
Very nicely done. A breath of fresh air here for SK Telecom. Already adding another kill onto the board for themselves. In this series, it's only been 3 kills and 1 tower that they've been able to take, so it's already a step in the right direction quite significantly.
It's one-way traffic, like you say before now, but it's a different SKT when you change in. The jungler has had the benefit of sitting with Coach Koma and watching the pathing and tendencies of KT so far this series. Not a big enough adjustment from Score. Was pretty predictable in ganking top, and well read by the side of SKT. So that's a feel-good moment for the SKT fans and the players, more importantly, to steady themselves in what is an emotionally charged Game 3.
Down at the bottom side. We'll just go ahead and start walking his way back up the river as the play does not connect. He's got the Scuttle Crap. Blank only got to find the Spiderlings.
Didn't use his summoner, which led to his death, but does mean that he has more presence when ganking side lanes to follow up on a death sentence or make a play of his own. Faker answering a LeBlanc again. Game 1, the containment was fine, but the game eventually snowballed out of control for KT Rolster, and they couldn't have the Kassadin to keep him in line. And this time, when you go for the Corki, it's much more about having lane presence earlier than the Kassadin, if not having the same auto-win side lane pressure on the side. Notice it's a cleanse from Faker, so he's not taking teleport. A lot of mid-lane Corkis, even in bad matchups, are taking teleport for team comp. That does mean KT have a teleport advantage. A lot going on in the side lanes.
Yeah, back in the mid low, ongoing low, flashes away, a Score arrives, lands a cocoon this time around. Faker looking for the kill perhaps, flashes in, has the big one, takes him down, but is out of mana, so can't pursue in on the Score. Just gonna be a 1-for-1 there in the mid lane.
A lot going on everywhere. Death might be dead.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get jumped on, has to flash away from the grand entrance. Flayback coming through now onto Wolf. The hook will connect, but can they stick around for this one? Get the shield, keeps himself alive. As Bang uses the heal.
No creative summoners here. Bang has heal. Wolf has ignite. Gone is the barrier and heal they were running in Game 1 with the Alistair as the supportive choice. A lot of actions, different to the first couple of games where we saw a bit more passage, a calm passage of play. Smeb almost got a solo kill off screen. We saw the tail end of that, but not quite the damage yet to make that happen. This season, Smeb is undefeated on top lane Jarvan, 8-0. It's been his choice of initiation late game that has been the smart thing. Antara was a level under and juked to the left. That was well caught. Then we caught this fight where Pawn was baiting super hard because Score had his flash available. They do eventually get Gragas, but Gragas lives slightly longer than expected because he had already picked up an earlier kill. That's why things don't go exactly as planned for KT.
Well, going to be SK Telecom with the advantage for now. Still very even across the board, except perhaps that top lane where Smeb has a pretty commanding lead in CS. We've already seen the trades now. On going in onto Faker, takes him quite low.
And more rotations of spells, only level 7.
And it just never stops as Score finds Blank. Pawn wrapping around from the side. Blank
Maokai's
is
going to be there
pushing
first.
forward. Okay, is going to be there. Pawn flashes to the side, comes up with the kill, but can he make it out of here? Nature's Grass coming through. Tries to go ahead and jukes back with the distortion. Score going
Mata.
low. Another rocket connecting. Mata misses out on the hook. Was throwing that one blind. But here comes Smeb. Flag and Dragon. Special delivery with the Cataclysm. Picks up the kill. And just like that, KT have the lead.
And Mata's been turning back the clock on Wolf. He's been able to roam so much more effectively on the Thresh. Has the boots of mobility already. Was there first. Happy to flash over to the Raptor side. Wolf went for Sightstone, focusing on lane, but Mata hasn't been playing in lane at all in this series, unlocking him even before the turret went down. Meant a lot for KT Rolster, and that's the first time this game they've traded up.
3-2 now. So they come up with those kills and scores. Just hunting.
We've seen this before on Huni, you remember?
Yeah, this is exactly the treatment that they gave him, but looks like they will go ahead and peel back. Wanted to see if he was going to be going back in for the TP for the potential dive. But instead, just going to get a nice buy-in, and Smeb goes ahead and picks up that Phage for himself.
You know, Steph just happy to just stand next to the Satchel because he gets mana back.
Yep.
Is a bit flagrant to use your spell shield in the vision of the enemy's support, given there's a very, very long cooldown, around 24 to 26 seconds. I forget the exact number. But given just how Grand Entrance works, it always feels like if you fully commit as a Rakan, you're going to get someone through QSS or even Spell Shield. So happy to just take the trade, get the mana back, pull back, and you know that when the minion wave is inevitably pushed by Tristana, who can only push, you have enough mana for the ricochet into the Boomerang Blade, and you're fine regardless.
Plus, your CD is just about to come back up as well, so Deft is playing this one out pretty decently. You'd have the same one for the refillable potion on top of the BF sword.
Jarvan against AD carries has always been a good matchup, specifically if they don't have escapes. Both Tristana and Corki do. But one of the reasons why Jarvan is still a great pick in the top lane against a draft like Corki and Tristana is that the change Riot made where you always get the Cataclysm damage in an AoE. Because you're going for Black Cleaver, Titanic Hydra, fairly high AD build, you do end up getting the burst in, and hell, if they've already used their escapes, then it goes back to just being Jarvan against AD carries, where you're always well-suited to answer them. Smeb has been fantastic at picking engages. We've seen him come out of the darkness and find the right flag and drag into Cataclysm in most of those 8-0 games that he's played. So that's the sort of thing where he's free farming, he's 31 CS ahead, he's got his damage core already done. It might be the side laners that feel the penalty.
Not to mention, Mata's been pretty on point, so wouldn't be too shocked if we honestly saw a double Flayed Deny on the Tristana and Corki to stop their mobility, to stop their escapes from coming through.
It's mind-blowing that SKT have not banned Thresh in one game of this series.
They got half of it. They got the Callista taken care of, at least Papa Smithy. That's a step in the right direction, albeit maybe a bit too late, as Faker will come out on top of that exchange in the mid lane.
And while I like that part, again, it's the first two games. Like, Thresh was a permaban against Mata by many teams, including SKT, earlier in the season. It feels like Coma has basically been scrimming against Thresh, confident they are able to contain Thresh, because so far that's been the gambit they've thrown, but it has not worked.
Pop-up coming through there onto Antara, going low yet again. Smeb not really feeling the turret dive right now when the Nature's Grasp and the Flash are available.
The Q is super strong and interrupting also the flag and drag. It's very, very difficult to lock down Antara without help. And speaking of help, there's Score.
In the vicinity, would get spotted out by the sapling, which you can see Smeb is actually trying to pull for himself.
Rakan is roaming here as well. All very predictable by KT, and they've already been read once by Blank, so probably smart to just take the lane push and the pressure they're creating over necessarily confirming the kill.
Locking in again, jumping in, distorts to the side as Faker pursues with
Doesn't
the
have
Valkyrie.
flash.
Chain will come down, Dark Passage there from Mata yet again on the roam. Making a very nice use of those Moby boots. Even to clear out some vision if he wants to. Seems like they'll just go ahead and give that to Deft.
Those saplings. Okay, well, they know that Gragas isn't here.
Nature's Grasp when he come down, so it's an advance in. Smeb's just got to take himself out with the flag and drag.
Nice stuff from Antara. Getting out of difficult ganks with a plum. And knew Gragas wasn't around because Gragas was making his way towards mid lane when that previous gank was happening. So that was the time to make it happen, but Antara gets out, only having to use his ultimate, not having to use flash. That's good stuff for SKT. Doesn't help his CS numbers, though. He's being snowballed on, CS-wise, by Smeb, that's for sure.
Yeah, just a bit. 30 CS up. Not too shabby. Vaughn's got the way of pushing in, staying decently competitive here against Faker. Of course, had to split his build to get that Hex Drinker first. In the meantime, Grand Entrance thrown down. Mata taking a lot of damage. Will get popped back by the Buster Shot, but will not go down. Def tries his best to trade back, but with just the BF sword and the long sword, it's not going to be doing a whole lot of damage as the Sivir quite yet.
I don't know, score is bot side, but it'll take a genius to work it out if Sivir still pushes up. Heal enough to keep Deft alive. That's the only extra summoner invested on, but this was all well timed by SKT as the Drake is up. They're going to make the first attempt onto it.
Word in the back of the pit, so they do see this one getting started up. Score starting to wrap his way around.
Only a Cloud Drake, so KT don't have to overforce on this, but they're going to.
They say that, but that's going to be the engaged, and Tara's still going to be up in the top lane. Grand Entrance dash to the side there from Wolf as the Flag and Drag comes through, locks him into the Cataclysm. Blink has to flash out, as does Wolf, and he might still be going down.
No
Smith
kills.
misses the Dragon Strike, doesn't find it, but Pawn dashing in will be able to scoop up the double kill. The chain to confirm there on to Blank. 2 kills going over to KT. And they can just go ahead and take this Cloud Drake if they damn well please.
Oh, what a chain. Just as he had to snap back to not die, he picks up the second kill. That was the big factor there. Achilles, big investment by the side of Smeb, but it's paid off by Pawn, and Pawn is dealing with a Corki with no mana. They'll be able to just rush him down. Maokai does not teleport. Not 100% sure whether it was up. I have to assume it was, and yet chose not to come in. 2 kills go over. What's Score doing here?
Good for the blue buff. Doesn't have the smite. Just now got it up, but we'll just leave it. So it seems like Faker will at least be able to pick that up.
Tara may have got the preferential back timing that he has been denied by Smeb pushing in wave after wave, but now he has to deal with the Black Cleaver Jarvan, and that's no fun.
Well, it's fun for Smeb.
There's a lot of games that I've cast involving Smeb, and people ask about Smeb. He was the #1 voted player when it came to Worlds in terms of players to watch. Smeb is a player who can play carry and tank equally good. There is almost no player in the world that can do that. Huni in spring season was one of the few that was able to straddle that line as well. If you give Smeb an advantage, he has the mechanics to outplay you. He has a carry mindset, and his teleport use is good. He is a complete top laner, unlike many top laners in the world. And him having this much of a lead against Untara, who, regardless of his success, is much more of a role player. He can play Rumble comfortably, many things comfortably. Watching Pawn.
Pawn in some trouble. Will go ahead and get knocked up, but there's so much damage there from the Corki and the Gragas.
Not invested.
He will get taken down.
Not invested. Good roam timing by Wolf. They're not able to punish this SKT on the bot side. But Smeb's where all the gold is, so we'll see what he can do. And speaking of Smeb, he might have started up a Rift Herald.
We'll be taking this one out. Pings are coming down from Antares, who has an idea of where Smeb is, because there's also a ward in the back of the pit. So that'll help.
Just to complete my thought, and so the reason why I talk about it is that Untara is not the sort of player you would expect SKT to throw against him. I think it's why they usually run Huni, is because he also has the mechanics to jump up, but they went for the reliable choice 3 games in a row.
Well, this could be getting a bit risky here. TP coming through from Pawn. That's going to be the spike coming down as Score finds the Rift Herald. He's in a bit of trouble here. Goes up with a repel, but what goes up must come down, and one more hit will do it as he falls. Wolf dashing to the side, takes himself out to safety, and now Smeb is cut off. Throws down the Cataclysm, looking for the damage to kill off the Rakan. Can't get the hits in, and now it's 5-5 with SKT in a slight gold lead.
And KT showing too much aggression, going back to some older KT series where they found an advantage, try to push it. All they claim from that is the Rift Herald at the cost of 2 deaths. Sure, Score can pick it up, but he gave up his life for it. If Smeb had gotten out, it would have been fine. 1 death for the Rift Herald is probably a decent trade. But this is where KT rolls to give up what was a small gold lead, give up a kill lead as well. And already SKT getting many more kills than they'd gotten any earlier time in the series.
Yeah, seeming like maybe the first brick could be one of the first big separators that we have in this game for either side to start accruing a larger gold lead. At the moment, SKT just going to be about 600 ahead, with both of those top lane tier 1 towers going rather low. So if we just see the summon onto the Rift Herald in top, Score will be able to kill it with just the charge. And it might just be the run of play here for the side of KT to guarantee that extra gold. Yep, there we go.
I imagine that would be at the same time as Jarvan going into a side lane, though, to make a kill while Rift Herald was taking down the top lane turret. Instead, they're going to push with the Rift Herald, which, like you say, 100% will take down that turret.
Goodbye.
Oven will be able to match the teleport from Untara, and soon will have his flash up, but you're right, the moment that summon came through, the turret was guaranteed.
Even then, KT just find themselves about tied up with SK Telecom after the first break bonus. Go for a bit of an invade, spot out the red buff as it's coming up. Mata is here to help out, as Pawn and Faker do a bit of a dance back and forth here in the mid lane.
It's a delay happening there with the barrel. Wasn't going to make a serious attempt to come in. Jarvan's already started walking down, but it's going to be on a Raptor killing duty. To me, the next teleport from Untara, I think, will decide this game. So far, he's just been able to do the Maokai thing, and Maokai famously, like Rumble, gets his core items, which nowadays is a Righteous Glory, hits W on someone, and can, even from way behind in lane, fulfill his job in a team fight. Doesn't have budget tankiness anymore, as Untara didn't expect Smeb to be there.
No, he did not, but he's pretty tanky. So it seems like he might be all right in the exchange. Now we're going back over towards that Cloud.
Everything on score.
On the score, and he's just going to get taken down. Bang with the explosive charge comes up with the kill. Now Mata having to flash the way. The box buys him a little bit of time as Bang leaps in. Be finding much else in the meantime. Smeb still duking it out here with Untara, who has to flash away. Throws down the Nature's Grasp for good measure. Will get himself out of there successfully. Kill comes through, score goes down, and that's going to be the first Drake going over to SKT.
SKT's target calling has been so much better in this series, been able to just train down. Closest target's been Score a couple of times now, has already died 3 times in this game. They get their first Drake, I believe, of the series. I may be wrong on that, but certainly have only gotten a couple in Meager.
Right now the count is going to be 9 kills, 1 tower, and 1 Drake.
And 6 of those kills and everything else coming from this last game.
Maybe 2 towers here as Bang looks like, yeah, he's just going to finish this one off. So does take that one down, and SKT start to move things forward. And again, it's around that same time of the game, but this time it's going to be SK Telecom that have their foot on the gas.
It's like their draft is more reliable in the late game, but certainly you cannot count KT out. This time they do have teleport advantage as Corki took Cleanse to ensure the laning phase would go better. 24 CS up. 2-0-2, the laning phase certainly went better, but that is an extra strategic option available for KT that SKT doesn't have in the late game. The package only can go so far. You're right, much better for SK Telecom in this particular game. It's not being run at the pace of KT, who have actually had their over-aggression repelled in this game that was working so cleanly in games 1 and 2.
Trying to recollect themselves here, SKT. Looking to be proactive, pushing up into the top lane. Wolf tries to get the knock up there onto Smeb, but he has to flash away. But this many members up in the top side of the map, you have to expect that he's going to surrender that turret. Package does drag Faker far enough away to get out of those chains from Pawn.
Smeb had used the flag for farming.
It's going to be the wraparound. Faker says, screw it, I just have to try to kill the LeBlanc, but since he can't do that, might be in a spot of bother. Repel comes through, he's sashing his way back in. Cocoon and the Hook are both going to miss. Pawn lands the chain. Will he make it out alive? One final turret shot will not take him down. There's nobody else in the vicinity to finish him off. So they will just go ahead and find Faker, but it was a group effort. In the meantime, that turret goes down at the top. Smeb going in onto Bang, drops down the Cataclysm, gets pushed out by the Buster Shot. Now is set running. Flag and drags over the wall. Can he get out of here alive? The answer is going to be no as Blank comes over the wall, slows him up, and it's just a couple more hits to finish him off.
Will eventually take him down right at the front of Baron. They clear a control ward there, but won't start the Baron just yet. You see the pings from KT Rolster on it, so kills across the map. Objectives also mirrored. No advantage to either side there. Rotating the Maokai out of the face of the Jarvan is certainly something that will suit Untara just fine. CS advantages closed a lot between Smeb and Untara. Smeb has gone down twice in recent memory. Also very good build, going for the Gargo's Stone Plate instead of trying to finish off the Titanic Hydra. KT don't have the map control they had for 2 games. Had some good early moves, but too aggressive around the 15-20 minute mark, and now the game is much more comfortable for SKT.
Def not doing a whole lot of damage yet. Still has some time before he can start shredding everybody with his Simmer. Whether or not he's going to reach that is going to be the question. Explosive charge gets thrown down, but no chance for a follow-up there as the Dark Passage scoops him up to safety.
Def, because he's only got farm and hasn't got the kills that Shan is, going to go for the 2-item spike build on the Sivir, looking for the ricochet crits with Infinity Edge after the Essence Reaver. Already, a lot of items onto Bang, with the turrets going down and the kills, and try to continue to increase the pace of the game. This should be mid lane turret falling for free.
We'll go ahead and take that one down. Third turret now here for SK Telecom. Fourth in the series. Things are starting to look good with Blank on the roster. Even Intara has been able to go ahead and claw his way back in here. Just 9 CS down, has those 3 assists coming through as well. There's going to be the engage coming through, actually double pop-up, and Depth just gets absolutely annihilated. Repel coming down from the score, and Bang has the follow-up. 2 more kills thrown over for SK Telecom, one of them being the jungler. They might be looking at Baron.
You wonder why SKT's been running Rakan for this long, because they're able to make the instant picks with Wolves oh so cleanly. In game 3, they're going to turn onto the Baron. They know no smite is available. LeBlanc might be in range, but really nothing that Pawn will be able to do. Baron going to be picked up by SK Telecom, and KT Rolster went for the snowball engage draft, went for a very strong pick comp. The pick comps mean very little against Baron buff.
And they do. So Baron over to SK Telecom, 9-6, 5,000 gold in the lead, and they can add much, much more to that as long as they don't play too recklessly here. This is the turnaround that the fans here in the audience, the SKT fans watching from home, have been waiting for. Because if they win this, it's the potential start of a reverse sweep in the semifinal.
I think Rakan has been the big pick here for SKT. The ability to actually get instant picks. Alistair had to always shadow Thresh in the previous series, seeing a very deep teleport.
They're looking for Intara.
From LeBlanc.
Flag and Drag not going to connect. Intara does have the flash available, but the rest of the team is coming through, so he is almost certainly going to go down. But do they have the damage to kill him off before the rest of SKT joins in? It looks like the answer is going to be no. Box coming down. Hook connects in onto Wolf. Flag and Drag forward from Smeb, but he's just isolated himself, and he'll go down as Faker finds the kill. Now Pawn will also get taken out. 1 for Bang, 1 for Faker, and KT is sent running back to the base.
KT trying to accelerate the pace of the game, trying to get kills now. They feel like they can't take the game in the late game due to their focus on damage. May actually force a game 4 here, Kilios. SKT so powerful. Now they have the Baron buff. There's no threat of Smeb or LeBlanc. Base should be broken for SK Telecom.
Yeah, 20 more seconds on the LeBlanc. They can just go ahead and push straight in for the inhibitor. Likely not going to be having a base sweep like we saw from KT Rolster in games 1 and 2, but this is still such a better performance from SK Telecom as they go ahead and knock this inhib down at 26 minutes. Now Def's going to get jumped onto his advance. Let's take Intara forward, but he's got the spell shield to deny the root. But SK Telecom just going to be looking for this tier 2 here in mid. Bang not going to get caught out by that hook. Will stay alive, will stay safe, and they're looking for another one.
Yeah, they can just brute force through. The Tristana is out of control. It's getting his engage.
Coming through. They find the lockdown on to Pawn. He goes low. He gets popped. Another kill for Bang on the Tristana. Now Smeb yet again jumps into the back, tries to finish off Baker. Baker flashes to the side, stays alive, has the shielding, and Smeb will go down as the score. They're looking for the ace. Mana will get taken down in the end, and that's going to be the game. Going over to SKT. They put one on the board. They're making it a series. That's game 3. We're going to game 4.
Pawn, as we saw there, right there, Bang Goomba stomping people on the Tristana, getting reset after reset. The game ends the moment that SKT have it in their control. 5 minutes is all they need, and SKT have a lifeline. Sub in Blank, win game.
Just like that. Started off game number 3 with 3 kills, 1 turret, and that was it. They end with 16-6. SK Telecom with Blank in the roster have shown up.
And what did we say? SKT, a victory was the minimum they needed, but this sort of a victory where they really dispatched KT Rolster will be so important to steady the ship. And now, for the first time this series, the lingering doubts will be there for KT Rolster. For the first time, we will go to a 4th game, as it was 3-0 and our only other best of 5 between these teams, and KT Rolster have gotten close but no cigar again and again against SK Telecom, and suddenly their fans will wonder, is this another of those days?
Yeah. Take a look at that final fight. Pawn just getting destroyed right off the bat. Means that they have to go in full retreat mode, but with Smeb and Score that deep into the back line, they can't. They just have to commit, and they just don't have the damage.
And they'll have to go onto the red side as well. KT Rolster will not be able to boss around the draft like they tried to, but their priced pick in game 3 was Elise. And the moment that Blank caught him, you thought, okay, maybe it's not going to work. They had some good plays, KT Rolster, but they can be over-aggressive. They didn't have a tank frontliner. They had the Elise, who was swatted down multiple times in the mid-game, and from there, the mid-game became the end game in about 2 minutes.
All right, well, one on the board for SKT. Can they tie it up and force us to Game 5 and potentially close out a reverse sweep? Just like we saw KT do versus them a year ago in this exact same matchup, semi-final of Summer.
I wonder what KT will be forced to ban. The Rakan is now a very intriguing red side ban, potentially, because the moment that Wolf was unleashed to playmake, he did it with aplomb.
Well, that's going to bring the record to 12-6 here. KT still need to close this series out if they want to take a mark off away from SK Telecom and deny them the final. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because this series is still heating up. Game number 4 going to be coming your way after the break. KT still with a chance to close this one out, but SK Telecom on a warpath to fire back.